Imagine that you're in a movie, and imagine the movie begins now, and you're the hero of the movie. What would that guy do? What would that guy do right now?
Yeah.
Because you are.
Motherfucking purpose is you. We forget that. Every day I wake up and I don't want to do some fucking shit. I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a bitch today? Do you want to feel like a little bitch? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't?
Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
If you don't fail, you're not even trying. I'll say it again. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. My wife told me this great expression. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen in life. Mm-hmm. Your parents are going to pass away, loved ones are going to die, your relationships are going to break down, your body is going to fail you, you're going to become ill or sick or destitute. Things are going to happen that you have no control over. And the only way that you can prepare yourself for unchosen suffering is with chosen suffering.
He says, imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on, the ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together. So I ask you today, how many ghosts are going to be around your bed when your time comes?
You can't wait for everything to be perfect to start living your life. Because I've bet that's what I've done. My whole life has been like that. Inside of me, it has been, as soon as it's all lined up, I'm going to show you myself. As soon as I've got it all looking the way I want, I'm going to show up for you. And for me. I'm never going to get to that where everything's okay, where everything looks a certain way. And in the meantime, I'm burning the best time I do have available. I'm burning that candle up. I'm burning this candle down, and I'm saying as soon as it gets bright enough or warm enough in here, I'm going to show up. But the candle's getting smaller.
Just get up. Move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. Move towards that challenge and go attack it. And you may be successful and you may not be successful, but you will be better. And the next challenge, you're going to be more prepared for. And the next challenge after that, you're going to be even more prepared for. And you're going to fail, 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 and then you're going to win. And that's life. Life without those challenges, it's just existence. Don't just exist. Go live.
Your biggest enemy is you. My whole book is about you battling yourself. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
The biggest advice I could give you right now, the biggest advice that anybody could give you, and this is not my words, Woody Allen told me this. I said, Woody, what's the secret to success? He said, 85 to 90% of life is just showing up. Show up. If you show up, there's a chance something could happen.
Ask again. What would you do if you only had 6 months to live? What would you do if you only had 6 months to live? Who would you spend your time with? Where would you go? What would you want to do? What would be important? What would be unimportant? If you ask that question over and over again, you'll have a tendency to keep your life in balance. Everything in moderation.
Patience, the thing that goes beyond hustle and hard work. The discipline of patience. the thing that goes beyond hustle and hard work, right? Because we all talk about hustle, we talk about working hard, we talk about grinding, this, that, and the third, but nobody talks to you about patience. Nobody speaks about that patience. Because in the patience, that's where you're gonna make it or you're gonna break. The discipline of patience, right? Because when you're not patient, you can make a lot of mistakes, man. Like I told you, the quote said, don't judge each day by the harvest you reap. You judge each day by the seeds that you sow, right? When you sow a seed, you gotta be what? Oak, you gotta be patient.
And by purposefully choosing difficult things, you will armor yourself against that situation. It's still gonna suck. But think about how much more fragile you would be if you hadn't overcome all of this stuff. We spoke about this yesterday. Every single person that I know that is incredibly successful in a balanced way and has a good perspective on it elects to do very hard things regularly. It humbles them, it reminds them that they're just mortal, and it also means that if the entire mainstream media apparatus tries to come down on top of you, let's say, just as a hypothetical, let's say that occurs, that you can deal with it because you know that you've dealt with 1,000 disgusting kettlebell workouts followed by a cold tub or whatever.
If everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person.
If you want to change your life, you must change your ways. You must develop discipline. You must develop strength. It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't. Because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts.
It's easy to give up.
Hell yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I don't feel like going to work. I'm done.
Yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
This is intentional. Intentionally act like the person you want to become. Because when you intentionally act like the person you want to become, your brain sees you taking those actions, so your brain starts to change the way it relates to you. When your brain sees you high-fiving yourself in the mirror, it starts to go, oh, wait a minute. Steven loves himself. Steven's cheering for himself. We don't beat Steven up.
We have the ability to go in such a space if you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer. Your brain and your body, once connected together, can do anything. I was so driven, and I'm not gonna say motivated because motivation's crap. Motivation comes and goes. When you're driven, whatever's in front of you will get destroyed.
So it's like if you were playing a video game and the way to win the game was to make the most successful character, right? You would have probably a really character-driven human being in terms of like they'd be patient, they'd be hardworking. Like you think about all these traits that they would have, right? They'd probably be tough emotionally, like etc. All right, cool. That's the character, and that's the person who's going to be really successful. We can all probably agree on that. Okay, how do you create someone who's patient? How do you create someone who's tough? How do you create someone who, right? So all of a sudden, if we had to then engineer the game in order to boost those points, we'd have to get them beat up a lot so that they could get tough. We'd have to make them wait a long time so they could become patient.
That's right.
And so to the point that you made about like these people who become really successful have these traits and also share the fact that they've been through all this shit. It's like, well, they got the trait from the shit, and then the trait was the ultimate output of the experience, and that trait then made them super successful that they didn't have earlier.
Hard work brings great rewards. This is a reminder of the hard work and dedication that I put into everything that I've done. I'm not content because I know where I came from and I don't ever want to go back.
You're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. But you can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing. What are you passionate about? What do you want?
I struggled my whole life, but I ran from it. So I started realizing, man, I got to start facing the struggle, and I got to be mentally strong for the struggle. So that's why I started coming up with like, I'm training for life. Mentally, I'm training for life. I'm not training for like to lift 400 pounds. And I found out on my own pretty much is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. You know, I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
Nobody in its history of coaching had your level of work ethic. I mean, you hear so many guys tell stories about your work ethic. Yeah. What was really your work ethic like, and for how long did you stay disciplined?
Well, I mean, every day. I mean, since 20 years. It was an everyday process, and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Man, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive. Right, so you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast. Right, so I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game, and it just never changed.
Go do something that's hard. Go try and accomplish something that's hard. You may win, you may lose, you may succeed, you may fail. I'll tell you what, you'll be better. If you avoid those things that are hard, if you don't accept that challenge, if you don't step up and step into that cold water, and you sit on your couch and eat Doritos, I can tell you this is not a good move. This is not a good move. Don't do that.
People need an excuse to perform. They need a race to be working toward, a goal, a holiday, a photo shoot, a wedding.
Right.
And that is what drives them forward. And, that's not nothing. That's an incredibly powerful, potent motivator.
Yeah.
But
it's worked for a lot of people.
If you can manage to perform without that, that's real power. Because it means that not only are you going to choose your suffering, but you're going to continue to hit close to your maximum performance with no finish line, no crowd celebrating your completion, no glory, no nothing.
When you feel that pressure inside of you and it's very heavy, like weather that's very, heavy and thick, you're motivated, you feel it. I've got to get up in the morning. I've got to do this. I've got to accomplish this. When that pressure goes away and you don't feel any pressure in your life, you can do anything and there's no consequences for it. You'll just waste time. You'll waste years. You'll waste months. You'll never accomplish anything. You give somebody a deadline, right? They'll accomplish in 2 months what it would take somebody 2 years to do without a deadline. It's that necessity. It's that sense of there's a sword at my back. I've got to get it done. It makes you get things done. It gives you the energy. It's get rich or die trying, to quote somebody.
That no one is ever going to give a shit about you, even 1% as much as you have to give the shit about yourself. No one cares. No one cares about you if you're a man, ever. Everything is conditional. You don't get loved unconditionally, and that's a beautiful thing, because that makes you strive to create your own value as a man. And the problem that men have is we all go from a time when everyone cares about us to a time no one does. Women don't lose it until they're maybe 45 and childless. Then they'll be like, oh, what the f*** is going on? Now she understands what it's like to become a 15, 16, 17-year-old man. Because we've gone through the stage. I remember my aunts and uncles, hey, little Tristan, I remember, they all cared about me back then. Then you get to 16, 17, 18, you're out in the cold world and you're like, no one gives a f***, do they? I can't pay my bills. I have no food. Nobody cares. Yeah, your mother and your father will care a little bit, but you have to care about them. So I'd say the duty of protection is the other way around once you become an adult, and you have to care about yourself. So the best advice I can give to anyone, especially the young men who are 13, 14, 15, who, are sitting in their room playing video games and their mother's still bringing them sandwiches, if she continues to care about you that much and you lean on it, you're going to be a nobody. And if she says, okay, you're 18 now, get the f*** my house. You're going to be a nobody until you make something of yourself. So the best advice every young man needs to hear is nobody gives a shit about you at all until you make them give a shit. People give a shit about me and Andrew now. Why? Would you have given a shit about me if I just stayed in my room playing video games from age 18 till now? No, you wouldn't know who the fuck I was.